India focus. And tonight we'll be speaking about one of the most important issue which many of the major mainstream medias are not speaking about. We are going to speak about the poster boy of Indian startup, so-called poster boy of Indian startup, Byju Ravindran and the Byjus company, which is going through a period of failure. And with me, I have this evening Manjunath Koparat. Let me introduce him to each and every one of you, my viewers. He is a passionate trainer come mentor for the holistic growth of a teacher, and obviously a stock market freak and a tax consultant. Good evening, sir. Welcome to D.India Focus.
Good evening, Sri Charan. It's a great, interesting topic today. You have come up with a new one. Let us hope for the best.
And it's going to be the most interesting one because I have you with me. I have a lot of inputs getting from you. So it's going to be interesting, sir, overall. My first question to you is, how do you look at the rise and fall of Byjus? Before giving my opinion, let me take your opinion first.
Byjus, actually, it is a startup by a person who was a teacher, started in 2011 as a spoken English classes in Bangalore, basically. Then moved on to a video-based learning app. Okay, then moved on to acquisition and content creation, innovative methods adopted through learning app. He provided many different kind of learning apps for a new generation. And the growth was phenomenal. The reason behind the growth was not the market demand, basically. It was the funded growth which made it grow faster. And moreover, the growth was analyzed based on the downloads rather the income. That was the rise. And coming to fall, the growth that happened prior to 2020, that is a COVID period and post-COVID period, we have to bifurcate. Before COVID period, the growth was comparatively sustainable because the spending was handled in a better way. Post-COVID, because of sudden spurt in the downloads, the company misassumed the market and invested heavily on many technologies which were fast coming up. And moreover, acquisition was also funded. It was not funded through a business. So parallelly what happened, Byjus, by seeing the success of Byjus, there are other companies which came into the market. There are Vedantu, Unacademy, there were so many. So this created the competition also. Parallelly, the market was expanding only from the point of view of download and usage, but not as a business.
Yes.
And moreover, it was offered as a freemium. It is not a premium. It is a freemium. So offered for 15 days, then you pay. So many gimmicks were used. This is what has happened for the rise and fall. And apart from this, for the acquisition, they went on getting funds through equity as well as debt, especially when they acquired Akash. That was the biggest acquisition that created a problem. That is the turning point of downside.
Yes.
Where the amount they paid was higher and it was funded through debt. That reversed later in 2022 because they could not finalize their accounts. So it is not one or two, it is like a premium problem, pricing problem. The students were downloading, funded growth, speed without stability, high marketing costs, and education sold as a product, not as a service.
Okay.
Because when they sold the product, they came up with a tab. Okay, they gave a tab and also some dongle kind of thing. So concentrated more on product rather than the service. And also they sponsored IPL also, heavy spending. Apart from this, they were very, very bad at accounting too. And the compliance, 100% failure, delayed payment of PF, delayed TDS payments, delayed salary payments. Everywhere there was a problem, especially 2021 onwards, because the acquisition cost they funded went on to all the funding, rather expenses.
So as you said about 2021, let me give the numbers. Let us quote and quote the numbers. Byju spent around 2,250 crores on marketing, and where the revenue was only around 2,428 crores. So look at the level of marketing they spent without knowing the revenue which they would be getting on. And I think the failure of Byjus was because of setting unrealistic targets for salesperson, toxic work culture for employees, manipulating parents to buy the product, feeding the fears for the students. This fueled the growth of Byjus as well as the failure for Byjus. 2020 they saw the growth, 2021 they saw the failure, and after 2021 it's all about their failure.
One more thing I want to add. Actually, basically what happened, that is one part of the story where marketing side you have seen. The other side, capital flow was used for revenue expenses. Revenue income was given for the capital expenses. So all mismanagement with the funds basically. That was the biggest problem.
Yes, if you look at, as you're pointing it out, let me tell another statistic. If you look at FY21 and FY22 comparison, FY21 operating revenue has increased from 2,280 crores in FY21 to 5,015 crores in FY22. That's the total expenses have increased from 7,027 crores to 13,668 crores. That is 94.5% increase. So look at the expense they have been made, and looking at the revenue, the loss has increased from 4,564 crores to 8,245 crores, which is 80% approx. My second question to you comes there, sir. Lot of investment in marketing. So did Byjus get stuck in its own trap of marketing?
Most probably, yes. What happened, the amount they spent on marketing, branding, a huge sponsorship cost. See, they sold a service as a product, and they could not understand the benefits that differ from using the celebrities. Celebrities can be used for a product selling, not for a service oriented company. Service, how it happens is, the growth of service happens based on the satisfied customer rather the product.
Correct.
So that is the primary criteria, where Byjus never concentrated on that. And more than the second one, more marketing expenses by way of marketing team expansion, whereas the product was developed, but the market was not clear. People used that COVID period just to test, because it was a free product for everybody. Everybody was offering, so they just downloaded. But it doesn't mean everything gets converted into cash. That was a big problem with the marketing. And I think marketing was a main reason for using the capital inflows and moving into a revenue expenses. That was the biggest error they made it.
As you said, celebrity, it's a different topic to debate about, but celebrity responsibility also comes into picture, which is not being taken care in India. It's a different subject as a whole. Now, my third question to you is, sir, when it comes to the valuation, a company which gets valuation of around 60 to 70 times its revenue, 17 times the loss incurred in 2020-21, even then they get 60 to 70 times their revenue. And a company which has a net loss of 133 crores on a net profit of 15 crores, they get a valuation of $22 billion. So I think there's something wrong. Do you think that Byjus was held in a valuation scam?
Mostly there might be a hidden problem which might come up after some time, because the investigations are going on. The reason behind is like the audited results are supposed to be announced as and when it happens, the year end especially.
Correct.
Since 2019, Byjus has been delaying the audited results regularly. And recently they have filed 2022. They have not given anything related to 23. That too, after so many follow-ups by the register of companies. That means there could be some issue which might be there, because valuation for a loss-making company, that too of $22 billion, is not a small amount.
Yes.
Profits are not there, sales are unknown, cost is heavy, but the valuations are too high.
Yes.
So there might be some issue, and once the issue has come up, then they have decreased. They are decreasing the valuation. Now it has been valued at 1% of what as it was valued.
Correct.
That is just $200 million, 200 million. I am surprised about this. There could be a great trap in this actually.
That let me also tell that setting unrealistic targets is not the new trend. It's not the new trend. Companies have shifted their focus from value to adding valuation. And this is the wrong path which they're taking. As an entrepreneur, me as starting a company, setting all these trends or targets is not something good for the future. My question to you is, sir, what would you advise to the young entrepreneurs? What would be your lessons from Byjus which you would advise to the young entrepreneurs?
Any entrepreneur, whoever want to come into the business, they should have a clear cut vision and the business which they are doing. They should understand that first. Either the business, the product or service should be so strong, it should create a market, or a market should have so much requirement, your product should get sold. If either of these two are not there, then it becomes a real problem. There are so many factors which come in. It is not just about the product or service. There is a back end work where people get involved, technology gets involved, funding gets involved. Okay, compliance, the biggest ignored factor, that gets involved. And recently, what is happening? Startups are getting funded irresponsibly.
Correct.
Luckily, it has stopped in the last 1.5 years. That's a great thing which has happened. But considering overall during 2015 to 2022, huge funding has happened. For what reason, we don't know. And businesses with the idea, it is converted as a business and it is closed also. And recently, I had been to one education expo, and VRL President Anand Sankeshwar told this, especially to the youngsters: don't get into the trap of startup, because the success rate is just 5%. And interestingly, in US, the success rate is 1%. So I advise everybody to be clear about their thought, the funding and the business, then move on to the business area.
Correct, correct. As you said, sir, when a company starts making profit, this comes into picture even in Byjus. When a company starts making profit, it should also think about the savings which it has to make for the future. But leading a lavish life by the owners, leading so-called Dubai lives, leading such lives does not make any profit for them. And when a company starts making loss, the owners, the founders run away. The investors are in trouble. I think you would be knowing the Lehman Brothers, 2008 it happened, the Lehman Brothers case, where the company was in the peak. And by the time 2008, it came down where when it announced the bankruptcy, it was around $638 billion of assets and $619 billion of liabilities. That's where Byjus is today. It has a lot of liabilities.
Correct.
It can show the valuation. It can show that it has profits. But the truth is, when you compare it with liabilities and revenue, there it comes down. My last question to you is, sir, will this be an end or a warning signal to the edtech companies, so-called online edtech companies?
EdTech company, we can't ignore it. I'm sure. See, the growth of the EdTech companies will be there. Abrupt or like over aggressive growth may come down, and a structural growth will start happening. And we are seeing certain changes already, because the costs involved actually will be handled through AI, artificial intelligence. It will be cut. So there are so many opportunities that will come up where edtech companies will definitely grow, but it cannot replace the foundational education system that is there in India. Especially in this case, even the funding what has been done, they have used all wrong methods. If we speak of only that, it will take at least 1 hour to understand how exactly they funded and what all they have sold. In one example, if I tell you, they have sold Akash's future earnings to get the funding of 2000 crores. Future earnings, 7 years future earnings, they have sold it and got the funding. So imagine, there are so many methods they have used. So what I think is, warning has come at the right time, and India is always proactive, and we are seeing already a lot of actions against the company. The new companies, whichever is coming, it is better to be very clear on their honesty, ethical practices, business practices. This is what I want to tell.
Yes, sir. We had a wonderful and interesting edition through this last 20 minutes approx. It was great edition with you, sir. Thanks a lot for joining me. And I point out again, the mainstream medias will never speak about this. They'll have a small column for it, a 2 minutes headlines for it. That's it. They're going to close it up. But the fact of the matter is, Byjus should wake up now, or else it's going to be difficult for them.
I doubt it can wake up now, because it has moved into a very wrong path already. So I don't think it will rise up. In Paytm, the possibilities are there, because only one section of Paytm is a problem. Other section still it is alive. So hope we people should learn from this.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for joining me in this wonderful, interesting edition, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, viewers, for watching me. Until the next time I meet you all, signing off, Sri Charan. Thank you, viewers. Thank you for watching me.